Hello there, everybody. It is I, Tony, aka TTBurger 88, and welcome back to another episode of TTBurger Rants. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and this is gonna be another gaming rant here. And with me again is
Razor Blade 1812.
hello, Razorblade. And today's rant is gonna be kind of a discussion at the same time. It's called this video's gonna be on the downfall or the demise of the Need for Speed series, and let's go back in time to when the first Need for Speed was released in, I think, 1996. I think I can't.
1995.
Oh,
It was 1994 when it was actually a 3DO game, and that was called Road and Track Presents The Need for Speed.
Yes, and of course, I didn't play the game when it first came out because, like, I thought the first Need for Speed was only on the PC or something like that, 'cause you could not find it anywhere. Then the local disc store had it. And I played the original Need for Speed, and I will say that the original Need for Speed wasn't the best racing game. It was very, very clunky with the controls. The graphics were a little outdated, and like the turning was a little was kind of on the rough edges. But it wasn't a bad game at all. It was actually a great racing game. And then we had Need for Speed 2 come out, and which pretty much improved on the first game. And then we had Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit,
Which, of course, was the very first Need for Speed game I ever owned when I first owned it in 1998, alongside Tekken 3, which, of course, I got the same day, and it was in September, I believe.
Need for Speed 3 is that, from what I heard, is actually one of the very first Need for Speed games a lot of people have owned when they were gamers.
Yeah, including me, when I first owned it on the PlayStation in 1998.
I unfortunately didn't get into the Need for Speed, did not know about the Need for Speed series actually until playing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 on the PlayStation 2 at a friend's house when I was over at his house for a sleepover, and he also had games like Midnight Club, a bunch of racing games. One of them happened to be Need for Speed 2 Hot Pursuit, and it was really cool because like being chased by the cops and like being the cop or being the driver, just it was so much fun back then.
What's interesting is that in the PlayStation version of Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, you can't actually play as a cop, even if you put in a Game Shark code where you can drive a police car, except that you still get chased. But in the PC version of Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, which I played a couple years later, actually allows you to play as a cop. That wasn't until Need for Speed High Stakes, or Need for Speed Road Challenge as it's called in the European mainland, is where you can actually play as a cop in both the PC and the PlayStation version.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many Need for Speed games that had so much character to them and stuff, and like it's hard to keep track on how many Need for Speed games there were before its demise. But like the very first Need for Speed game I had ever owned it was something that my brother had owned. It was Need for Speed Underground, and for the first Need for Speed game I ever owned, it wasn't a bad game. I mean, I didn't know I didn't know that they wouldn't be as good as the other ones. But we also had Need for Speed Porsche, and of course Need for Speed Rally, which is basically V Rally in Europe. It's like that, which doesn't even count.
Well, it's V-Rally, V-Rally.
I mean, that's a V Rally, so I don't even have it. But there were so
And it was made by Infogrames.
And there were so many like these. I mean, like counting how many Need for Speed games there are. Like they're gonna be making a new one called Need for Speed Edge, which is to be announced. But
Need for Speed Payback.
there's one that's to be announced here called Need for Speed Edge that's gonna come out after Payback. But yeah, like I feel like the Need for Speed series went downhill, in my opinion, probably after a lot of people say Need for Speed went downhill after Carbon came out. But I really cannot say for sure because
Well, in my opinion, it actually went downhill after Hot Pursuit 2, in which Need for Speed Underground is where it pretty much started the whole trend of having to coexist with a movie franchise that we all know, Fast and Furious.
And yeah, that's what I feel like, because Need for Speed Underground got rid of the cops. There's no cops. All you basically do is racing and stuff. And Underground 2...
Which, of course, they did bring back in Most Wanted.
Yeah, but thing is that, like, in Underground 2, like, was basically an open world game, which was cool, but thing is that nothing will top the original 6 games. Well, the first 6 games: Need for Speed 2, Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, Need for Speed High Stakes, Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, Porsche Unleashed, well, whatever. But none of those will top it. In fact, I mean, my brother and I tried the demo for Need for Speed Most Wanted back in 2005, and we shook our heads wondering, this is awful. This is basically a storyline about prisoners and gangs and runaway prisoners stuff like that. This has nothing to do with racing. I mean, it looked good. It looked awesome. I mean, Need for Speed 1 Most Wanted 2005, not the crappy 2012 version. I'm talking about 2005, which was when Need for Speed was still there going downhill. But we also have to mention there was also a Need for Speed PSP game played called Need for Speed Underground Rivals, which was actually kind of fun at first, but having to do so many of the races, it gets boring after a while. And I'll never forget the time when I was seeing like how so many Need for Speed games are coming out. Like two of them released a year, starting in 2009. Need for Speed Shift, Need for Speed Nitro, Need for Speed World, and Pop Pursuit in 2010. Like so many of them, and then they have to make the movie series too. I mean, seriously, a movie series on Need for Speed, is that really necessary? I mean, come on. You talk for a little bit. You talk for a little bit. You haven't talked much yet.
Yeah, and what's actually even more weary is that Need for Speed Pro Street was actually a game in where I actually stopped following Need for Speed right after Need for Speed Carbon, when I thought that Need for Speed was getting so dull that I pretty much had to abandon the series for good.
You think that's bad? Good thing you never played. Good thing you never got suckered into playing Need for Speed: The Run. Need for Speed: The Run. When I saw that game, the game trailer for that at E3 2010, I literally thought, "Whoa, this looks cool." It's like because I don't know why, but I was turned on. I was turned on to the fact of doing events outside the car. I mean, for some reason, I was gullible and thought it looked cool, but no. They might as well just call it Fast and Furious: The Run, or Need for Speed Furious, or Need for Speed, or Need Fast for Speed Furious: The Run, or whatever, because that's what it's basically a Fast and Furious storyline inside a Need for Speed game. And I really, I mean, you know what, and yet I'm gonna talk about. I mean, since they're trying to compete with Fast and Furious here, I'm gonna say I'm sick of all the Fast and Furious movies. And that series needs to die. It's old. It got old. I only saw two of them. Too Fast, Too Furious, and Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and I didn't really care for them that much. They were boring, and even seeing the first Too Fast and Furious at the age of 14 going on 15, it put me to sleep.
Yeah, that's true. And what's even more kind of weary is that there was, of course, Need for Speed Undercover, which, of course, I played on the PC, except only for a very little bit before I quit afterwards. Because it was pretty much the same thing as some of the other Need for Speeds, and I didn't care about it.
Need for Speed is so dull and boring these days. It's just pretty much unreal. It's just pretty much become a snooze fest. It's becoming it's like Forza. It's like what's going on with Forza. Like how there's so many Forza games each year, and how PGR, how Project Gotham Racing was, and stuff like that, and how. It's like, except
that the PGR series is already dead because of the demise of Bizarre Creations.
Yeah, I know, but just saying, like, how many those did they release and stuff. They only released 3, and 3 was too many. But I'm just like, what happened to the series here? Like, I mean, the Need for Speed, like, it started out with, it was basically focused on racing. Now they gotta focus on
yeah, of course. Not to mention, it all focused on all these exotic, luxurious sports cars.
Yeah,
before they turned it to like street racing and so on.
Yeah, whatever happened to the original cars that I mean, I don't feel like I'm playing a racing game. I feel like I'm playing a spin-off to the Fast and Furious series. That's what it feels like to me, a spin-off to Fast and Furious, because it's not like that. Like they, in 2000, I think, let me see, in 2015, they had to release a game just called Need for Speed. What is it, like a reboot or something like that? A reboot series? Or you just couldn't think of a title, it's called Need for Speed. Oh, but we took the word "the" out of it, so now it's totally a good game. Need for Speed.
Which is also one of the problems that EA has, is that they can't give sequels proper names or numbers. Like, of course, with Sledstorm, the PlayStation 2 game, which, of course, it should have been called Sledstorm 2.
And here's the thing. They did first number them. They did number the first 3 Need for Speeds, which was fine. But then, yeah, this is going to be a reference to AVGN's Chronologically Confused video, because, like, he did some similar to this, so, yeah. But, it's like, Need for Speed, it's like, and I noticed that like there were certain games here that scored higher for the PS2 than it did on the Xbox. That like Hot Pursuit 2 scored higher on the PS2 than it did on the other ones. And then all of a sudden, like, they had to do this like fair quality thing, which would start with the Underground series. And I know I really didn't. I really haven't played the whole series that much, but a lot of people tell me Need for Speed died after Need for Speed Carbon. It was the last good Need for Speed game. I really can't say for sure because I kind of quit caring about Need for Speed after a while. I mean, I'll probably buy some of the ones before the year 2007. When, in my opinion, that's when it's. I mean, before 2007 is when the series completely went downhill, according to people who work at GameStop. I know, but as of right now, like. There's so many Need for Let me count how many Need for Speed games there are. I mean, bear with me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 games. 21 games. And I may have counted. Oh, no, take it back. I counted wrong. 24 games. And that's including Edge that's going to be coming out. Probably, the Need for Speed Edge will probably be coming out this year. And from what I'm reading here, it's going to be a free-to-play MMO racing game. Yes. An MMO
Who wants to play
racing.
that?
Who wants to play that? So, Need for Speed Edge was first known as Need for Speed Online from China. And it is the third free-to-play game in the franchise overall, and this is also the only free-to-play racing game that runs on the Frostbite 3 game engine, and it's based off the 2003 title Need for Speed Rivals. I don't know if you can even count this, because it's just basically just going to be MMO, and it's currently being developed by EA Spearhead, which was formerly EA Korea, and published by Nexon from South Korea, and Tencent Interactive Entertainment from China. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be great. I mean, Need for Speed Payback was already Need for Speed Payback is already releasing worldwide on November 10th of this year. And
And from the gameplay footage I saw, they kind of got rid of the whole racing aspect and now makes it kind of like the original Driver on the PlayStation, where you of course have to complete objectives and drive to point A, point B, and so on, and trying to take down enemy vehicles and so on.
EA leave car-based games like that to Driver and to Driver and stuff like that to by Atari, Reflections, Atari, whatever, whoever's
Ubisoft,
because they do it better. Need for Speed was not meant to be like Driver. Driver was mission based from the beginning because you were an FBI agent an undercover FBI agent. So that made sense. But here it's like you take a simple racing game and turn it into a Driver clone. I mean, what are you gonna do next? Need for Speed on Foot, where it's a running race, or Need for Speed Bike, where it's with bikes, or Need for Speed Skateboarding, or Need for Speed Surfing, Need for Speed Swimming, or Need for Speed Flying, helicopters, airplanes, parachuting, Need for Speed Skydiving, Need for Speed standing in the corner doing nothing, Need for Speed Jumping. What more can you do? One more!
or Need for Speed Valkyrie.
Oh no! Or Need for Speed. No. Take it back. Need for Speed Toaster, where the whole game is to see how quick you can make toast for breakfast, or Need for Speed Breakfast, or Need for Speed Dinner, Need for Speed
Shinobi.
or Need for Speed Strike, which is basically a parody of the Strike series, or Need for Speed Medal of Honor, where it takes the driving mission of Medal of Honor Warfighter and you drive it and stuff like that, or Need for Speed Dead Space, where it's Dead Space where you're driving around
Need for
in a
Speed
car.
Future Cop.
Need for Speed Future Cop, or I get so look at this, or
Need for Speed Road Rash.
Or Need for Speed Retro, where they have retro 80 cars or something like that. I mean, what? See, this is the thing. They fucked up the series so badly. It's the shadow of its former self. I can't believe this. And yet, this is the fall of Need for Speed. And what are they gonna do next? Release a. I'm tempted to bet they only make one movie, but even the movie sucked so badly it bombed in the box office. Watch them make a sequel and call it and make it based off Hot Pursuit or based off The Run. Maybe Need for Speed The Run will get its own movie and stuff. And I remember playing that game for a week and sold it, and literally almost broke the disc because I was mad because I got cheated. And there's crashes in a Need for Speed game. Why are there crashes? This isn't, what is it, Need for Speed Burnout? Why does every game have to have crashes and explosions these days? What
Yeah, and it was even a franchise that actually killed Burnout.
Yeah, it did. Well, Burnout killed itself with that. Well, actually, Burnout now died out at a good time because Paradise did. Because Paradise, if they would have kept going, they would have went down the route of Need for Speed and Ridge Racer and stuff like that. But holy cow, I can't believe I got off tangent there. But just like the only Need for Speed games I have are the ones I own right now. I might get the Undergrounds and Most Wanted later on, but right now
And the only Need for Speeds that I have at the moment were, of course, well, Need for Speed 2 and 3 on the PlayStation, and of course, Need for Speed High Stakes on both the PlayStation and the PC. Yet I'm still trying to track down Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Oh, and I also own a Need for Speed Porsche 2000 on the PlayStation. I don't have the PC version, but...
What about the first one? The Need for Speed.
I don't have that.
Yeah, well, my only complaint with the original Need for Speed was using pressing the triangle button to drive, but that's you can change that obviously. But geez, going back to like how simple it was back in the day to have it all complex and stuff with a dark story. I mean, like that's the problem with every racing game these days. Like Split Second did that, Blur did that. Well, Blur kind of did, but that's when Split Second did it. Blur did this. Ridge Unbound did it, and the Need for Speed games are following this whole. We need to have cool ass explosions and crashes in our game to
Michael Bay
to make it all Michael Bay looking and to make it all epic looking, because that's what kids want these days. They want crashes, they want explosions, they don't want the drift, they don't want just a simple driving like how there's a Gran Turismo or the first three Need for Speed games, which you'll expect a review on the on the Gran Turismo games in the future. And like, how much worse could this get? How much worse can Need for Speed get? But I don't really know. The thing is, I feel like the new Need for Speed game that's coming out. I forget the name of it already. I gotta look it up.
Payback.
Need for Speed Payback. This will probably kill the Need for Speed series, because they already are going downhill more and more each time. And Need for Speed, I remember Need for Speed Shift did not get good ratings at all. I remember that much. But I feel like that this isn't gonna be good. It's not gonna be good at all. And I feel bad for people born these days who didn't experience the original Need for Speed games that we experienced, that me and Toby here experienced. And
yeah. Especially given the fact that Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit and Need for Speed High Stakes were, of course, part of my childhood, and I always enjoy playing these to this day.
Yeah, like, it's only a matter of time before Gran Turismo goes that route. And I'm afraid they're going to be going that route with Gran Turismo Sport coming out this year, which I'm hoping it's not, because I do want to get that game, because all the Gran Turismo games I've been fond of, and I'm hoping that won't happen. That's just to go off topic there. But you got anything else to say?
Well, it is undoubtedly EA's newest cash cow next to their other key franchises such as FIFA, Madden, and Battlefield.
Yeah. It'll be only a matter of time. The Madden cash cow is dying slowly. The FIFA cash cow will be dying. Everything will be dying. It's like EA is gonna run out of things soon. I mean, who knows what they're gonna do? I mean, who knows? But yeah, all I can say is that the Need for Speed series is dead. And those of you who like it, hey, more power to you. But we used to like it, but not anymore. Hell, you know what?
Not even after Carbon, after I kind of got sick of it.
Carbon was awful. Carbon was stupid. It was one of the...
Yeah.
It's like, from what I heard, it was stupid. But like...
And I never even completed it to this day. Not even Most Wanted, I've never completed it. Even the Underground games, I never completed them to this day, and pretty much the reason that's what Need for Speed is. That right after Hot Pursuit 2, it just became a pretty dull series that just keeps getting worse.
It keeps getting released every year. It's the yearly released Need for Speed game. Every year there's gonna be at least one or two Need for Speed games. And it's like, God, can you imagine if EA released 2 Madden games a year, or released 2 NBA Live games or FIFA games or whatever, or NHL games a year. Can you imagine if they did that? That'd be awful. But
Yeah.
but that's off topic. Yeah, we'll probably rant on EA Sports someday. Just an FYI. But do you got anything else to say?
I've got nothing to say.
I got nothing to say either, except for the series is a shadow of what it used to be. It sucks now. And if you want to play good Need for Speed games, go play anything from the Need for Speed up to Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, because those are the best ones out there. They were mainly only focused on racing, none of this dark, gloomy story gang racing thug gang series that's basically just casual racing at its finest. That's the way it should have been.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all we gotta say. This is Tony and Toby. Peace out. And stay tuned for more videos. And before I get started, I know, like I mentioned before in one of my videos, I'm still taking a break on doing reviews because I'm waiting to get a new capture device. So bear with me when I get that capture device. I will be able to make reviews then. But until then, I'll be making these until I get the capture device. That's all I gotta say. This is Tony and Toby. Peace out.